Speaker Sonny Belmonte assures the lower house will soon resume deliberations on the proposed Bangsamoro Basic Law. He also hopes that the BBL will be passed by June this year. Again, here's Freddie Abando.
Speaker Feliciano Belmonte has always been a major supporter to provide more funds for the autonomous region of Muslim Mindanao when he was first elected in 1992. As Senior Vice Chairman of the House Appropriations Committee in 1995, Speaker Belmonte saw it fit that more resources are provided by government to promote development in the area. Because of this, Belmonte sees no reason why a bigger budget for the proposed Bangsamoro entity should not be provided by Congress.
And even then, I was very concerned about the fact that for instance, yung educational levels, yung standards of living were lowest in those provinces. At that time, I was even advocating na we should give slightly more just to allow them to catch up with the rest of the region. Yeah, hindi yung sila lang. Pero anyway, itong BBL law that is pending before us, for sure it cannot be passed as is in the face of some constitutional issues. Pero as much as possible, we would like to accommodate what was agreed upon by our panel, our government in effect, and the MILF.
Budget Secretary Butchabad Beard the Bangsamoro funding based on the draft basic law, the first quarter for 2015 for the enactment of the BBL. The block grant is only 25.2 billion pesos. This covers 10.8 billion for personal services, 3.103 billion pesos. Capital outlay amounts to 11.2 billion. Other sources amounting to 33.080 billion pesos are existing funds. 12.567 billion pesos for downloaded funds from NGAs, internal revenue allotment for armed areas amounting to 18.047 billion. ERA areas to be covered by the Bangsamoro will receive 1.8 billion. All of these will total a little over 33 billion pesos. There will be other new sources to include an initial funding of 20 billion pesos for the Bangsa Transition Authority, revenue shares and retained income for the Bangsamoro. The subtotal of the new sources amount to 59.4 billion pesos. Above stress, the budget for the proposed Bangsamoro entity has been reviewed to ensure government's commitment to providing more funds to promote development of its core territories.
Why is there so much controversy about an effort of government to make up for its negligence over this region over so many years? This is the region with the highest poverty incidence, with the highest maternal and child mortality rate, with the lowest educational attainment, with the lowest what do you call that, length of time that people survive. You know, we have to make up for that. And with or without the peace process, it's still part of the Philippines. So we have to come in and help them, because if you leave them to where they are, you are just, going to make them more vulnerable to agitation, because our 27 billion, which is going to be automatically appropriated in 2016, that has to go through their legislature. It's not like the previous arrangement where it goes straight to the governor, and he has all the discretion to spend it. No, they've adopted the ministerial system. So, the parliament has to approve the budget, and then the executive will implement it. So, it's not as if you just list down. In fact, a greater part of this budget will go to payment of salaries. salaries and overhead, there's very little that's left for capital investments because you have to pay for the salaries of the regional government.
In the meantime, Belmonte assured the House will resume soon deliberations for the proposed Bangsamoro Basic Law. As promised, the deadline is June. Only a law that is constitutional is the commitment of Belmonte. Expect debates in plenary after the Holy Week break if the House Ad Hoc Committee on the Bangsamoro approved the measure by mid-March.
End of the day, every Filipino wants a peaceful country where we can progress. All of us rue the fact that from being the most progressive country in Southeast Asia, we have become very close to the last, if not the last. And that is one of the reasons really is the continuing insurgencies, not only of Muslim Mindanao but also of the NPA dito sa atin.
People's Television Network, this is Freddie Abando.